Between 1347 and 1351, a massive outbreak of disease swept across Europe, leaving half the continent's population dead. While we have told the story of this devastation for nearly 7 centuries, modern forensics reveal our understanding of the disaster is flawed. This pandemic was driven by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. In just 7 years, it claimed an estimated 50 million lives, marking the most severe demographic collapse in documented history. The traditional explanation centers on a specific culprit, the black rat, and the fleas it carried into medieval cities. However, mathematical models of the disease's spread reveal a glaring anomaly. The infection moved inland far more rapidly than rodent populations travel, reaching isolated villages and mountain passes at a speed that defies the rat-flea transmission model. Because physical evidence contradicts the established timeline, the story of the 14th century's greatest tragedy remains an active scientific mystery. Paleogeneticists tracing the Big Bang of the plague's genetic origin looked to the year 1338. By extracting DNA from skeletons in Kyrgyzstan, researchers proved the pathogen emerged from a localized reservoir in central Eurasia before moving along trade routes toward the Black Sea. This migration coincided with a massive tropical volcanic eruption in 1345. The resulting ash cloud blocked the sun, causing global temperatures to plunge and triggering years of unseasonal cold and heavy rain across southern Europe. Physical proof of this climate shock remains visible today. This is a sample of an ice core from the polar regions. The distinct dark band of sediment trapped within the clear ice identifies the exact atmospheric fallout from the 1345 eruption. In Italy, these weather shifts caused back-to-back harvest failures. To stave off famine, Italian city-states began importing massive quantities of grain from the Mongols of the Golden Horde near the Black Sea. In 1346, the Mongol army besieged the Genoese trading post of Kaffa. During the protracted conflict, the attackers catapulted plague-infected corpses over the city walls, a tactic cited as an early act of biological warfare. Terrified Genoese merchants fled the siege in galleys, carrying infected grain and fleas back to the Mediterranean. When they docked in Messina, Sicily, in October 1347, they arrived with the infection already clinging to their bones. A globalized trade network, reacting to sudden climate instability, pulled the plague directly into the heart of Europe. From Sicily, the disease radiated through Italy, France, and England. Densely populated cities like Florence and London saw their populations vanish by as much as 60% in a single year. Modern simulations of this rapid spread exonerate the rat. The data suggests that human fleas and body lice, which lived directly on medieval skin and clothing, were the primary vectors driving the pandemic's inland speed. The bacteria also adopted a second, highly contagious human-to-human route. In its pneumonic form, the plague spread directly through the air via coughing, allowing the infection to jump between hosts without needing a flea or a rodent. Guy de Chauliac, a physician at the papal court in Avignon, was among the first to record these differences. He astutely observed that victims of the pneumonic form died within 2 days, while those with the bubonic form developed the telltale swellings in the armpits and groin. For those trapped in strict quarantine, the response was cultural. Boccaccio's Decameron describes narrative prophylaxis, a practice where survivors shared vibrant stories and art to maintain their sanity while the world outside collapsed. The Black Death's lethality was a human phenomenon, fueled by the close proximity and shared environments of medieval society. By 1353, the active workforce across the continent had been halved, leaving fields untended and villages empty. This labor shortage triggered a massive economic shift. As the supply of workers collapsed, peasant wages rose significantly, enabling survivors to demand better conditions and accelerating the breakdown of traditional serfdom. The indiscriminate nature of the dying, claiming clergy and nobility alongside the poor, eroded the church's unchallenged authority over social and political life. With more resources per person and a growing merchant class, survivors began investing in secular education and observable science. This shift toward humanism, supported by a newly robust economy, built the intellectual and financial foundations of the Renaissance. These same dynamics remain active in our modern era. The reliance on globalized logistics and the threat of zoonotic disease represent a persistent vulnerability in our interconnected world. The 14th century pandemic demonstrates that the combination of climate instability and international commerce remains a persistent trigger for global catastrophe.